All right, welcome to season 2 of Behind the Sermon and More. Today is going to be a lot of fun. I've got two of my good friends here at Apex Baptist Church. We've got Trey Alexander and we have Joel Andrews, and both of these guys are awesome. The best part of them are their family. So, hey guys, why don't you introduce yourselves? Tell us a little bit about your families.
I think you almost forgot my last name.
I wanted to call you Trey Andrews. Yeah. I don't know why. Just wanted to.
I would be in Joel's family. Trey. I am married and have 3 kids, all boys. So constant wrestling match in the house.
Yes.
Lots of fun. Always somebody to play with. Always somebody that wants to do something. So glad to be here, and look forward to sharing.
Awesome, man.
And I am Joel, and I married way up. My wife Rebecca. We have 3 kids: Lincoln, Thaddeus, and Blythe. And I'm really looking forward to this conversation.
Awesome, man. Me too. Hey, so I've been thinking about something for Rebecca. Rebecca's an amazing cook. Okay.
I've heard.
And yes, unbelievable. And my family recently went to the mountains, Joel, and we went to this place that I don't even know how to call these things by name, but they make these desserts that look like real fruit. So like a hard outer shell, on the inside's like a mousse, and they were phenomenal. Apparently, it's a big thing. There's a whole line there. So they were like saying they're on TikTok or whatever. Well, we're like, we got to get some. So we bought 4 of them. There's 4 of them. So think like the size of an orange or not even an apple, not that big. $60, Joel.
$60
for 4 of these things. They were good. They were not that good, but they were good. But I was thinking, there's nowhere around makes these things. I think Rebecca could make them.
Okay, so we learned something about Zeb. He likes the bougie dessert.
Yeah, so, overpriced.
You know what I'm saying? I don't like those. But
So Rebecca is a micro baker, would be the technical term I would use. But
Okay.
she's used to premium ingredients, right? So I'd want to know what are they putting in that mousse?
Yeah, I have no idea. I know we ate every ounce of it just out of principle.
So it held up. Was it worth the price tag?
We had to eat it right away because it's like a cold, hard outer shell. Okay. So you bite into it, and it's like icy at the beginning, and then you get into the mousse. But you got.
I thought he was going to say you brought us one back.
No way.
I brought you guys one back.
No, it wouldn't have lasted, man.
Puddle in
He
this
ain't
cup.
spending $16 on us.
You're worth it, but I didn't do that. So awesome. All right, cool. Man, I got a few questions to ask you guys before we dive into your mission trip. We want to talk about your mission trip. This is the whole purpose of this podcast. Can't wait for you to tell our folks about your trip. Before we get there, we've got some pretty serious questions we got to deal with. Okay, are you ready?
I don't believe you.
That's true. It's true. So if you could instantly master one random skill, what would it be?
When he said that, my mind went to martial arts. Like if I could master martial arts.
He just watched The Matrix last night.
Which discipline?
I know Kung Fu.
Are we talking about Kung Fu or Taekwondo?
Kung Fu.
Jiu-jitsu?
Yeah.
Oh, Kung Fu. Okay.
Yeah, like the panda. Yeah.
Okay. All right, Joel. We know what gift certificate to get you to the closest dojo. All right, we got it.
Instantly master a skill?
Yes.
It has to be a realistic skill?
Nah, man.
Oh, I'd learn how to fly.
Like you fly.
Yeah, me
or
fly.
Fly a plane or you fly?
Either or.
Okay. Awesome, man.
Be a lot quicker getting here.
Yeah, God gave us legs for a reason, Trey.
This is true.
If it wasn't that, it would be fly tying, like tying flies, fly fish with.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
Do you
Be
still
really
do a lot
good
of
at
fly
them.
fishing?
Some days.
Okay.
So, but to be able to tie flies really well would be
Yeah.
amazing.
You used to be like big into it. Are you still?
Well, pre-kids, we're all big into a lot of stuff.
True. This is
And
very
then,
true.
and then we become bussers. We got to go here. We got to go there. So,
We're Uber drivers.
but I still love it. I mean, still awesome.
That's cool, man. I've only done it once, and I'm not very good at it. Matter of fact, I'm so bad at it. We were in Helen, Georgia, fly fishing. So bad at it that I saw all the trout. They were like teasing me. They're everywhere. And so I built this, I don't know what you'd call it, fish trap, I guess, with some stones, and I caught 3 trout in the trap. I was able to take my hands and throw them onto the bank.
Yeah, your gifting's not fly fishing; it's fish trapping.
I'm primitive, man.
I love it. I love it.
All right, cool. All right, here's another one. If you had to give a TED Talk with zero prep, no prep, like based on your knowledge right now, what could you talk about for 20 minutes?
Being uber passionate about things.
Okay.
I feel like I could fill up 20 minutes on that pretty quickly.
Okay. Would soccer be a part of that?
Probably part of it.
Yeah.
I think that's part of the journey the Lord took me on.
Yeah.
And I think He used soccer to teach me how to be passionate about things, and that ties over to everything in our life. But I think I could spit out a good 20, 30, 45 minutes.
Yeah. Well, Trey, the world needs to know you're a professional soccer player.
No.
You were, bro.
Yeah, I mean, in the smallest degree. So,
No, but professional's professional, man.
so one of my favorite moments in life is like my best friend and I were sitting at a table. We were playing together on this team, and these kids walk up and go, "Aren't you Trey Alexander?" And I said, "Yeah, I am." They said, "Can we have your autograph?" My friend's sitting beside me. He's on the team as well. And they said, and I said, "Yeah, of course you can. Like, this is like the biggest flattery I've ever had." So I signed their thing. They're walking off, and I'm like, "Don't you want Josh's autograph?" And they're like, "No, we're right." And I was like, "Yes, this is such a great
made it
moment,
even better,
Josh."
Dude,
Never
come
let
on.
that one down.
No,
That's amazing. That's amazing. All right, Joel, what could you talk about, man?
Well, if I was given the opportunity to talk to this Ted, I would probably talk to him about family videos. It's something that I love to do in my free time, and I feel like kind of gets a bad rap, like, "Oh, Dad, put away the camera." But I think I've balanced the art of being in the moment and capturing that moments, because we've really enjoyed playing some of those videos back, especially now that our kids are a little bit older.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. It's number one awesome that you capture that, but that I think you do have that skill of being able to stealthily do that and still have like the real family time.
Thank you.
Maybe it's modern day like equipment too, because back in the day you had to carry the big.
Yeah,
It's
I
almost
wish
like a
they'd.
boombox.
I wish they'd bring that back. That's
Zev, why didn't
That's
you
awesome.
compliment me and think that I could have done a TED Talk on passion? Joel, you definitely got this.
he's on
Trey,
the fence.
what's the next question?
I believe in you, Trey. Just so you know. All right, awesome. All right, cool. So this is the last one, and then we'll jump into our notes for the reason that we're actually gathered here today. But favorite food of all time. Like I love to hear everybody's story here. So favorite food of all time. What is something that you could eat on a regular and not get tired of it?
I think there's a lot of them.
Okay.
I mean, cakes, pies, cobblers.
So
any of
desserts.
those all day, every day.
Are you a dessert guy?
I can be.
Yeah.
Real quick. But I think if I could only eat one thing the rest of my life, it'd probably be Chipotle bowl every night, every lunch. Easy.
Too spicy for me, man.
Easy is good. You can
too
get less
spicy.
spicy. Just don't get
I
the
know. I
salty.
try. Like, it's always spicy. What do you mean? How do you get it less spicy?
You really can't do spicy.
Oh, dude, it's always spicy.
This corn is spicy.
I just get the chicken. Is the chicken always spicy?
That's crazy.
It's spicy, bro. I like Chipotle, but it's spicy.
You're that sensitive to it, huh?
I guess.
That's it. Like my kids, when they say spicy, is that what he means?
I think
Like
he means like Sprite. Man, this Sprite is spicy.
Salt.
Can't eat that pepper.
seasoned.
That's amazing.
That's what our kids say. We talked about that.
I do like seasoning, man, but it's spicy. I don't know.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So, but that's cool. A lot of people are Chipotle fans, so I get
Hot
it.
sauce for Christmas present then.
Hot sauce is 0 calorie too, man. I wish I could.
We got to build you up to it. Maybe that's what we'll start
Yeah,
doing.
maybe so.
Start
Yeah,
with-
maybe I just need to build
Start
my
with
tolerance.
salt. Next week,
I
black
do
pepper.
eat salt, bro. I put salt in my water.
Some
every
people never
morning.
grow up.
Do you?
Yeah. Yeah, electrolytes, man. It's important. Mineral salt, by the way. I don't know if it's different than regular salt.
Pink Himalayan.
No, I mean, I think
Joel was saying how
that's a
bougie
thing
you
too.
were.
I do mineral salt. Somebody gave me a bag of mineral salt, and I put like a little pinch in my water every day.
Epsom salt?
Mineral salt.
Shouldn't put that in water.
You take a bath with that, don't you? I don't get it. I'm sure there's some benefit, but I don't. Yeah, I could not do a TED talk on it. Let's just say it that way.
On salt?
Yeah, I would.
Or
would,
spice?
I could do a TED talk on spice, the effects of it.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%. Heartburn, nausea. What else?
I mean, that sounds like a Pepto-Bismol commercial.
Now he sounds adult. Now he sounds grown up. Yeah.
All right, Joe. What about you, man?
I would have to go with homemade pizza. Rebecca has just refined the art of homemade pizza. I mean, sourdough crust, baking steel pan. Like, it's just gotten incrementally so good that we do it every Friday. So
Come on.
So yeah, it's already in the rotation.
That sounds awesome. That sounds awesome. You've told me that before, by the way. And
Come on over. We'll have pizza and some salty water.
That's amazing. All right, awesome. I used to like you guys. All right, here we go. Here's
It's gotta be Chef Boyardee like sauce though, because we can't do it.
It is a little
like
spicy.
spice.
We'll eliminate the spice.
no pepper. I did do. So we have a Blackstone, and I did like like chicken and peppers and whatever, like a fajita mix kind of thing. And this is how ignorant I am. I didn't know you're supposed to take the seeds out of the peppers. You know what I'm talking about?
That's the heat.
It's the heat, bro. Like, it was so spicy that night. And I just powered through it because I cooked it. I was like, oh, this is so good. And Dana's like, we're dying. What did you do? She's like, did you remove the seeds? I was like, what do you mean? You're supposed to do that? I had no idea, man. Now I know. That's where the heat is. All right, cool. All right, here's a question. Kind of a 30-second response here from both of you guys. You recently went on a trip to South Asia. God did some really cool things. We're going to hear about it. What were you expecting going in? So you're getting ready to board the plane. You're fixing to head over. What were you expecting?
Well, personally, I was expecting things to be challenging. I think that's the reason why I signed up. Also, I felt a deep connection with the missionaries that presented at our church. And I was just, again, wanting to follow the leading. And in a lot of ways, I didn't know what to expect. But also in a lot of ways, I knew it was going to be challenging.
Awesome.
What I expected a long flight over, which it is. And I expected to experience a different culture in a place that is vastly different from the society we live in, because their language is different. It's not even based off the same alphabet as ours. Wow. Their belief systems are completely different to ours. So, like, I was expecting to see a completely different culture, but was excited to interact with those people and try to make them laugh and smile and just be with them. And, to be with our friends there and hopefully be able to connect with them and, hopefully be inspiring to them to continue in the mission that they're doing.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, hey, I know you experienced some God moments. Okay. So I'll distill this down to a couple of quick questions. What's one moment where you clearly saw the Lord move?
I think before the trip, I was interested in the role, why the Lord wanted me to go on the trip. I know he wanted me to go. He's given me an adventurous heart, and I love adventure. I love experiencing new things, and I especially love experiencing new things when I feel like I'm going to have to rely on him more so in certain moments. And so I was interested in my role on the trip. On the way over, our third member, who was the leader of the trip, went down with kidney stones midway through the first flight, and had to turn back. And so, like, before that, like, Joel kind of had a defined role. Our leader kind of had a defined role, and I was just there to hang out and just hopefully be a part of it. And when our pastor went down, like, I knew what my role was. It was to help Joel with anything he needed help with, because he was the most important member of the team going over there, and to hopefully be able to lead and make him comfortable in any situation put forward to us. So I guess I assumed more of a leadership role of getting us there and getting us home. So I think that was the first moment that I was like, all right, Lord does have plans for you here, and how's he going to use you?
Yeah, it's cool to see God's providence in, like, all the traveling that you did with sports, and how the Lord's kind of taking you all over and giving you, an ability to be able to navigate some of those situations, and to be able to step up whenever the third person went down. Totally unexpected, obviously, is pretty cool, man. So I can totally see how that's a God moment. Joe, what about you?
Yeah, building off of that, I think when Trey says that I had an important role in it, I think he's speaking to, we wanted to capture some video, capture some photos. We wanted to prepare future short-term missions trips. So I think that's what he was speaking to. But, really, when you ask that question, my mind goes to God clearly uses people. And my tendency is to kind of hide behind the camera when I feel uncomfortable. And Trey, everyone needs a Trey in their life, a guy that can push you in an adventurous way and and Trey really stepped up in a way that that moment on the plane, I was thinking, our trip is done. We have to turn around, you know, and this trip is just over. But you know, after we determined that health was going to be the first thing to check up on, and then once health was okay with our team member that went down, we were going to do our best to carry on. And that was all Trey. I was looking for a way out, honestly, because again, I just felt anxiety of the unknown.
Yeah.
Just with the itinerary, all the unknowns. But so God used Trey, at least in my life during that time. And then there was another point of the trip. If we flash forward, like we were on a mountain road making a trip to a village, and a car kind of broke down. And I thought, similarly,
the shifting mechanism, like the gear, because I mean it's a stick.
Yeah.
And so it actually broke, and so like we couldn't shift gears.
Oh wow.
And so we were trying to figure out what to do.
And here's this other time where I'm thinking, okay, clearly the trip that we had planned is over. It's now about getting back down the mountain to where seemingly everyone besides me we're going up that mountain. We're going to that village, and God used certain people to get a Jimmy rigged shifter going, and he gave us conversations in an area that was very hard to reach for a lot of different reasons. And, you know, I saw God work in that way, just God using the right people, their gift in this, to work his purposes out. And, you know, if he was in it, it wasn't going to stop.
Yeah. Come on, man. That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you guys for sharing that. So when you think about the culture there, what surprised you most about the people and the culture? First of all, have you been there before, Trey?
First time to Asia.
Okay. And Joel, this is your first time as well.
Yeah.
What surprised you most about the culture?
I think the number of people is amazing. I mean, there are so many people there. It felt like New York City on steroids.
Really?
And so like but all that being said, like in New York, people are, I mean, I hate to generalize, right? But when you're on the street in New York, nobody's paying attention to each other. But you've heard these different people of like asking help in New York and then not getting it. Well, where we were, like, if you talked to anybody, they would stop and talk to you. Like, they had no problem talking to you. There was just too many people to acknowledge everybody like we do in the South of like, hey, man, how's it going? What's up? How's your day going? Like, when we walk down the street, that's what we do. But they're just, there's too many people to do that.
Yeah.
And so I think the thing that surprised me the most is, and I don't know why it surprised me, I feel like everywhere we go in life, like, it's, you told a story one time about a man on a train, and like, he gets off the train and he was not a good, kind man. So the town was not kind. Another man gets off and he is kind. Yeah. It's like that. I mean, if you're kind and you're open and you smile at people and you actually engage them and care about them, like they're going to reciprocate. And so that was amazing. And so that was great. The other thing that really shocked me, Zeb, was Joel and I were just meandering around one time, and there was like this structure built. It looked like a tent, but it was just like the structure of the tent built. And so there's this guy standing there, and he looked like he might speak English. So I walked up and asked him, "Do you speak English?" And luckily he did. And I was asking him about this structure that he was standing right in front of, and he told me once a year they have this like massive festival, and to this god basically, and they erect this tent in his memory. And then inside this tent, there was a smaller tent, a smaller area. And I said, "Well, what's that one?" He says, "That's like where only the priest can go." And like, it just blew my mind in that moment, because like that was a tabernacle in the Holy of Holies.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so like, there's at some point they just diverted a little bit, and then diverted a little bit more, and diverted a little bit more. Before you know it, they're generations and centuries from knowing the Lord. But at some point, someone did know the Lord. I don't feel like that. I mean, I don't feel like that's a random chance that they happen to have a tent with a Holy of Holies inside of it. Like, that's because things just got manipulated a little bit and a little bit and a little bit. And before you know it, you're away from the Lord. Like,
yeah.
you say it in service all the time, like prone to wander.
Yeah.
Man, you wander a little bit and your kids wander a little bit, and before you know it, you don't even know who the Lord is. I don't know why that struck me so much, but like, I feel like that's one story that I've shared with everybody that since I've come back is like, it's just a little bit of like deviation. Yeah. And before you know it, your family doesn't know the Lord and you're lost.
Yeah, you're right, man. It's a slow drift, right? But give space and time with that drift, and before you know it, like you said, you're way out there. I was preaching to our college students last night, and one of the things that we talked about was how the enemy likes to leverage little bits of truth in order to tell a full lie, right? So there's like a veil of truth in order to give you enough to say, oh, that feels right. It feels normative. But in reality, you've been led so far astray. And I love the way that you articulated that about the tabernacle and the Holy of Holies, because what was represented in that was some form, some iteration of what was true way back when. So someone maybe had some type of knowledge, but the drift has turned into something completely different without gospel, right? Without understanding that Jesus is the one that tore that veil, and now we have direct access. So it is interesting to think about that. That's definitely a huge cultural difference. Joel, what about you, bro?
Yeah, along with that, I think just the fact that Jesus isn't this household name, that everyone just happens to know the Christmas story and the Easter story in a vague sense, at least. If you had a conversation with someone, and like Trey said, a lot of people are willing to talk to you. You can't start out by naming Jesus. You have to describe him as the Most High God and kind of explain what that even means. And I think we'll probably bring that up again later in this conversation. But the other thing, to Trey's point about just the volume of people, I think it's illustrated quite nicely with the traffic patterns that you there. It's like, the roads are not so great, and you have trucks, cars, mopeds, bicycles, rickshaws, all competing, right? But at the same time, and they don't stay in their own lane. It's just lane is a suggestion.
It's awesome.
But it's different because they all kind of work together, and like the car horn here means something very different. It's usually aggressive, right? The car horn there seemed to be like, there's this swarm of bees flying down this road, and they're kind of honking at each other to just say, hey, I'm here, yeah. I'm maneuvering around you. This is where I'm at. So, and the culture's kind of that way. Everyone kind of has a lane. They know what their role is, and there's so many people, they have to work together, or someone's getting thrown off the bike. Someone's getting into an accident. We didn't witness a single accident.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Wow.
And which is contrary to the drive home, after work today, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to witness accidents. It's because we're so distracted. I felt like there's no room for distraction. Yeah. They have to be on point. So really good drivers culturally, I'd say, because I have to be.
Yeah, that's amazing. When we were in Santo Domingo, I had this same thought, because the guy that was driving us around, he was from Santo Domingo, and driving this van around with our team, and it's just like you say, the horn is very common, where it's like offensive to us. It's like, man, and there's so much like, man, maneuvering. Lanes are suggestive if there are lanes at all. But I'm like, yeah, how do you do? I would be a nervous wreck driving through that. And it just like felt very normal. There's people literally within inches of your vehicles, and you're just like,
this
cruising.
Is why Trey and I are so different, and why everyone needs a Trey on a trip like this, because he embraced that. He wanted to drive. He was like, give me the moped, show me the busy street. Like, he embraced it.
You just wanted to use that horn too, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah, man.
And I wanted to drive on a right side drive car on the left side of the road with left hands like stick shifting.
Yes, 100%. Here's the
Man.
real question: when you got home, did you find yourself using your horn more?
It gets a different effect at home. So no, I
just like it's in you though, right? It's like, man, okay, awesome, dude. Thank you, Joel. Thank you, Trey. All right, cool. Here's kind of a personal impact question. And this is meant to be broad, okay? So just know that it's an open-ended, broad question, meant to be. But how did this trip change you? How did this trip change you? You can distill that as much as you need to, but how did this trip change you?
I know for me, my faith was challenged in the area of evangelism. I kind of quickly realized if you're not in a rhythm of sharing your faith, like in your everyday, being put in an environment where you're fighting a cultural difference as high as we experienced, it's not going to get any better. The different language doesn't help. The fact that people don't know who Jesus is doesn't help at all. It adds to the obstructions to getting to the gospel. And I found out that I was just not in a good rhythm of sharing my faith with the people that God was putting in my life here. And I just don't think that changes just because you're on a mission trip. Like, you can get some encouragement from others. You can feed off of the excitement of the trip, but eventually when you're having those conversations, it's how well do you know the scripture and the verses you want to go to explain your testimony. Like, verbalizing that takes practice. And we were well practiced before the trip, so we were in a good spot in that regards. But ultimately, I just knew that it gave me a fresh perspective on living out my faith here by going on that mission trip that really stretched me in all those personal communication scenarios.
So, Joe, do you mean that you felt compelled to be more prepared in your day-to-day interactions and more aware of?
I have no excuse, man. Yeah. I have so many ins with people in my workplace, people in my family, that I can get to Jesus and I don't for X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And I think I've tended to say, well, it's the long game. They need to see my life. But in the end, I need to verbalize, my testimony to people, share my testimony and share the truth. Like, I can't bring people to salvation.
Yeah.
Like, that's a work of God. But people hear that through the preaching of the word. And I need to be bold enough with my faith to get to a point where I am sharing scripture and am sharing what God is doing in my life to the people that he's clearly putting in my path.
Yeah.
And I wasn't doing that very well before this trip. So coming back, I've definitely been energized in that area of my faith.
That's awesome, man. I love to hear that. Yeah, you're right, man. Romans talks about that. How do they hear unless you preach to them? And so we're called. Yeah, we're called to share. But it is so easy, Joel. It's so easy to forget the opportunity that you have. J.D. Greer talks a lot about the mission field that we have every day. Like, the Lord has sovereignly placed us to be around, like, providentially, people that are going to be unique to our ability, right? So just think about your sphere of influence, man. You're going to rub shoulders with people that other people perhaps never will. And the responsibility that we have to be able to share is there. But you're right, man. To go back to what you said earlier, Trey, we're prone to wonder in that. Like, we're prone to be forgetful of the need to have those spiritual eyes and to see people with the heart of Christ. And this was attributed to St. Francis of Assisi. Historians say that he did not say this, but preach the gospel at all times, if necessary, use words. And the heart behind that is, like, your lifestyle does matter, and it certainly does. We're to be doers of the word, as the book of James says. But you do have to use words. You have to share, like, verbally. You need to share what Christ has done by way of testimony and using the word of God. There's power in that. So, man, I love to hear that, Joel, and it encourages me because, man, it's so easy to walk through my day and just to have blind eyes to the people that the Lord, again, providentially places in front of me throughout the day. So thank you, man. That's an awesome testimony. Trey, how did this trip change you, man?
I think it kind of follows a little bit of what Joel said as well. I think we all get caught into the rhythms of life, right? Like, it's just natural. We have kids, we have this, we have that, we have jobs that we have to go to, and we do the same thing. You can pretty much plan out your month right now because you know what the days are going to look like for the most part. Yeah. And I think we get into the rhythms of those days, those months, those years. Like, time can pass us by before we've done anything with anything. And so I think going on this trip, and anytime I go on a trip like that, I feel like the Lord's calling me back to him and saying, like, hey, I've actually given you a lot of chance, like a lot of opportunities to show my glory and to show my love to every person that you've encountered. And maybe he doesn't tell me I failed, but like I realize I failed, right? Because I've become callous to whatever, like walking through the office, walking through church, walking through the grocery store. We just become callous and we just walk past people rather than engaging them, right? Oh, hey, how's it going? Man, had a great week. See you next week, like, because we can't be bothered. And that's the enemy of what we want to be. And so, like, to Joel's point, I think that's what it did. It called me back to, like, being that joyous person that's looking for opportunities to glorify him in my interactions. Yeah. And how does that look, right? Like, I think the amazing thing about going on trips like this is you're doing nothing. It's like going on a fishing trip. When you go on a fishing trip, the only thing you're going to do on that trip is fish.
Yeah.
When you go, and so like maybe that's a bad example, but like when you go on a trip like this, like the only thing you're doing is focusing on the Lord. Yeah. Like literally, like Joel and I would wake up and we would go have breakfast and talk about what we were going to do, how we were going to share during that day. And then we would go share during that day. And then we'd look for another opportunity to share during that day. And then we'd come back home that evening and we'd like dissect how we shared that day. And then we'd go to bed. And then we'd wake up and we'd do the exact same thing. And it just like hyper focuses you on like who you're supposed to be, who you should be. And you're actually, like Joel was talking about with people in the office and stuff. And it's not just walking past or just being this like, oh, he seems like a good guy. No, I'm a follower of the Lord, right? Like you know where I stand. And so I think that's exciting. And I think the other thing it should, or it does empower us to like want to share. I just shared my testimony, a little bit of my testimony last week with this guy. And I don't really have many awkward moments, but I shared it and nothing was said for a good 3-4 minutes, just sat there. Yeah. And I was like, okay, like I guess that's it. And then we moved on to a different topic and nothing was ever said about it. And that's fine. Because like Joel said, it's not my job to bring them to Christ. But it is my job to be obedient and share what I'm supposed to share. Yes. And so like, yeah, it was, and I knew before I said it, I was like, I don't want to, I don't want to. And I did. And I wanted to take it back. You know what I mean? Like, can we rewind that? Like, so, but that's awesome, it was done. Yeah. And so like, I feel like, but that's what our faith's about, right? Like, that's what, I mean, you're probably 38, right, Zeb?
Yeah, 38.
Yeah. Is that a good guess?
Yeah, it's good. Yes. Good guess, but you're off.
But like you're, but like you're a different person than you were 10 years ago, and you're more faithful to the Lord, and you like trust Him more than you did, hopefully, and you can deal with more challenges and things in your life now because of that. And I feel like that's what it's about. Like I don't know. I kind of have been talking a while now.
No, it's great, dude. It's great. Yeah, I hear your heart behind that, and I think first of all, man, I'm proud of your obedience and sharing the gospel when the Lord prompted you to. I think that's the thing I'm hearing from both of you guys. Like this trip stirred in you the awareness to take captive those moments, right? And so not easy, especially when you get a response like a blunt, like no emotion response. It makes it even more challenging. I had that happen to me just a couple weeks ago. I shared the gospel. I had built in my brain this whole passionate, like the way this is going to end is going to be a glorious tale, right? Of like the Lord just at work.
Whole town's going to come to
Dude, it's like, man, this person I've been praying for a long time. I finally had the chance to share the gospel with them. I felt like the Lord was with me when I shared and sent a bunch of resources. Like, man, this thing's about to turn around. And like literally have not heard from the guy since. So, so those things happen, but I love to think about it. I think Robbie Gallaty said this. He said, our responsibility is not in the saving, but it is in the sharing. Like, are we obedient in doing that? And that's a Holy Spirit led thing, right? Like, Lord, it's not like the bullhorn guy where we're walking around everywhere just, screaming at him. And I'm not throwing shade at anybody that does that. That's not what it means. It means like diligently in our prayer life, seeking Jesus. Like, hey, Lord, there's this friend at work that I've been praying for him for a while. And Lord, would you give me an opportunity this week to be able just to share a little bit of that testimony, or somebody that I'm rubbing shoulders with at, our kids' ball games. And it's a dad that like the Lord's kind of given, I feel like you've me favor to like personality wise to connect with them, but I don't think he knows you. Like, would you give me an opportunity? When you're diligently praying for those opportunities, man, it's amazing how the Lord does open the door. It doesn't mean it's always going to go the way that we would hope it would go, but that sensitivity should be there. And it sounds like the Lord really used your trip to maybe broaden that sensitivity, give you a greater awareness, which is awesome. Yeah.
What I mean, it's funny. Like I think the Lord wants to use our experiences with Him, like for His glory too. Because like even before I shared, like it popped in my head, like you shared your testimony in India, like.
Yeah.
That was harder than this. You don't have a translator right now. You don't have this. Like it's not here. Like, and it is almost like an affirmation of like, listen, I've got you. Like pushing me into it a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
And I think we have to rely on our past experiences like that. Like,
No doubt.
so
No doubt. Awesome, man. Well, hey, let's move on. A couple more questions. All right, here we go. This is a good one. We talked about how this trip has expanded your view of the Great Commission. That's great. You were able to work with some local missionaries there. Okay, tell me about that. How did you see the Lord at work in their lives? I mean, think about, man, they're there, right? They're there. They're laboring for the gospel day in and day out, and you were able to come alongside of them and inject some encouragement, provide some support, work alongside of them. What did you see the Lord doing in their work, in their lives while you were there? Tell us a little bit about that.
I think, when we see them at Apex Baptist Church, we see them in one context, and they talk about how they're integrating themselves in this culture and feel called in this area, and they talk about that. That's one thing. To be alongside them, these are parents with youngsters that have all the same parent stuff, struggles that we do and we have here, all the relationship struggles, but also they're trying to integrate themselves in a very different new culture. And I saw them succeeding in that. And there were peaks and valleys and hurdles that they had to walk through. And God's refining them through that. And I think, some of the simple things that Trey and I were able to offer them was just kind of a listening ear, whether it was, talking about potty training a young kid, or like, how to reach this unreached people group for the gospel, and really how to deal with different dynamics in ministry. It was very eye-opening to see that these are real people, and they're very much like us, but also accepting an extraordinary challenge in doing their life there. And I think they've teamed up with some amazing local partners. That was one thing that stood out there, is they've been praying for and have connected with some really awesome people that I think have helped them integrate into that culture a little bit more. People that have grown up kind of in the area, and we felt instantly connected to these people, and enjoyed getting to know their whole team that they're putting together in South Asia.
Man, so I want to dig into that just a second. So you had talked about, I think it's a really key point, Joel. You had talked about how they're real people, and you felt that, right? After like looking at their family dynamics, all the struggles that they're having that you can relate to as a man that's, living with your own family and working through some of those similar struggles. Man, I think that's important to dig into. Here's why. There are so many people that look. So Pastor Drew, when he was here, he used to always say, all missionaries are weird. Pastor Drew was a missionary. he and Jess. He's like, man, all missionaries are weird. And I think we have a tendency to like categorize them as like they're the super spiritual, like they're just on a different level than everybody else. Unique calling, and on some on some level, some of that is true, right? It's a unique calling. Yeah, God has called them to different things, and He's gifted them and shaped them sometimes differently. But at the end of the day, they're real people just like us, and the Lord has called us to do things as well that we have to walk in obedience to, and it stretches us and those types of things. I want to camp out there because I think the listener needs to hear that. Man, like what if the Lord is calling you, right? So consider the struggles that they're having, consider being away from home, consider like they're waking up in the same environment, they're watching the Lord work through the partnerships, they're having to depend on Him maybe in a different way than sometimes we do, but end of the day, real people, real people, real people. What would you tell the average everyday Christian that feels like someone like a missionary who's serving hours and hours and hours away by flight, that what they're doing is just super radical. They could never see themselves being a part of that. Like, what would you say to them?
I think there's ways for everyone, every body of the church, every member of the church body, rather, to be involved. Whether it's, we brought them some goodies from home, some things that they couldn't get. What a blessing it was that they got Cheerios, hot sauce, right? Things that
Boo.
the spicy stuff, the
Chipotle.
things that gave them that comfort, that restored a little bit of joy, perhaps, and the conversations about struggles as a parent, like that's just, again, a real conversation that provided some encouragement. Someone can have those conversations a lot better than me and Trey to a young mom, right? Like a young mom can have that conversation, and then to the person that's maybe felt called to be a missionary, but it's like such an isolating thought. I think it's clear, whether you're an international missionary or you're a missionary right in your hometown, like you need a network.
Yeah.
And I think they have to have a network, and they're developing their network. And I think people are just like that. We need to be connected. We need to have people that can lift us up when we're down and talk through different ideas, share struggles, to pray together. And it seems like if they were completely isolated and trying to be superstars, they would have failed by now. Yeah. But as we saw, the longer we were there, they had people around them. Mm-hmm. Maybe not a full church like we have, an amazing church body here and that can gather every Sunday, but I think you go as part of a team. And yes, they're just the normal people, but they said yes to the call.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I think I like your question.
Thank you.
I wish it's hard, like, answering that question for me, because I'm not that person, right? I mean, I'm not a person that's overseas, but I've been to a couple places with different missionaries and like seen personality traits of them. I think more than any. Say it again.
Are they weird? Is Drew right?
I don't think they're weird. I think that's the way you would tell a normal person of like a missionary. You say, oh, they're a little weird. They're a little off. Just like if you play soccer, like goalkeepers are a little odd. Like to want to go out and get kicked by the ball or get kicked in the face, or the ball hits you in the face and be like, I saved it. Like it's just a little bit different, right?
That's good.
And so I think they have to have a little bit of difference about them, because
like an Army Ranger, like
exactly, they're taking a step, right?
Yeah.
But I think if anybody feels the Lord calling them to anything, be that moving to Africa, moving to Asia, doing whatever, changing jobs, like talking to this person at their job, like I think if you feel the Lord's tug and like you're actively praying about that and like pursuing His will for your life, I think the last thing you should do is suppress it and put it down.
Yeah.
Because if I look at my life, the greatest moments come from these terrible failures that I thought were awful, that nothing good was going to come from, and it was actually the Lord working it out for my good, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's another one of those things. Like them going over there is what we would consider like radical. But it's the most radical thing is losing your comfort, right? Like that's the thing that none of us want to lose, is the comfort of our everyday and our rhythms that we just talked about were so bad anyway. So like I think if you feel the Lord calling you towards that, you better pray about it a whole lot, and maybe hopefully for you He changes His mind. If not, then you got to take that step and be uncomfortable. But He's always every time He's always faithful to us. He always does more than we could have ever imagined. Yeah, man. So we were just talking about Abraham, and like, it wasn't just one day that he woke up and he was like, hey, go take Isaac. Let's do this. Mm-hmm. I mean, he'd been following the Lord for 100 years. That's you know what I mean? Like, imagine that if he hadn't chose to follow the Lord, what everything would look like.
Yeah, man. And we're told in the Word that even when we're faithless, He's faithful, for He cannot deny Himself. So, just knowing that promise is true is amazing. So whenever you step out on faith and you're trusting the Lord and you believe that He's leading you in something, you can do so in the confidence that He's always faithful, right? But yeah, that Romans 8:28 does come into play, because there are things it's like, oh man, like how, Lord, I don't even know how you're going to use this, but just recognizing that he is God, you are not. I just read a book, actually that was the title, God is God, I am not, or we are not. Tremendous book, but it just talked about that truth of like, you can depend on him. You can fully depend on him. And it doesn't mean everything's going to work out the way that you think it should work out, but it does mean that he's got the whole world in his hands and you're a part of that, and you can trust him. So, hey, listen, guys, thank you for sharing your story, seriously, and thank you for going on that trip. It started out rough. It started out feeling like it may not even happen. And, man, praise the Lord. Trey said, man, let's go. We got this. And praise the Lord, Joel, you're like, I'm ready. Let's do it. And man, look what God did. And just really, really grateful for that. If someone's listening to this and they've never been on a mission trip, and, they're sitting there thinking, man, I kind of would like to do that, but I'm just not sure if I can. What would you say to that person? We've scratched the surface of this, but let's dive a little bit deeper to that. Speak directly to that person. What do they need to do?
I remember someone at a missions conference using this line, be ready to go and willing to stay. And if you think about that, we're all called to go and be a part of the Great Commission. I think if you have the mindset, okay, maybe he wants me to stay here, but if you're actively praying about God's will, prioritizing as best we can as sinful human beings that prefer comforts, right? To try to think about what is God putting on my heart, and remembering it's not about me.
Yeah.
It's about the Lord and what role does he want me to play. And again, that missionaries are just real people that have answered that call and have said, I'm willing to go.
Yeah. A lot of times that starts with short-term trips too, right? Like that's kind of the seed that's planted of like, man, I took this short-term trip and then the Lord began to write something on my heart. And sometimes people are called into full-time missions for that. But I would say this way, because I think J.D. Greer, again, in this book that I just recently read from him, I think he does a really good job of saying we're all Christians are in full-time missions. Like you just are. Everywhere you go, like you wake up in a mission field and you're to live that way. But some are called to go and serve overseas. And sometimes, man, the Lord awakens your heart to that through a short-term trip. So we just encourage anybody to consider taking one of those. We have several options in our church throughout the year, and I would love for people to consider that.
Yeah, there's great resources here right at our church. I mean, we met with Pastor Nathan a few times leading up to this trip, and he just trained us up.
Yeah.
He's experienced in the travel end of it, but also just getting reps and sharing our testimony and thinking through some of the language barriers. We were pretty well prepped. So yeah, that's another great, just talk to someone about it. Hey, I kind of feel this way. Like, what do you think might be a good next step for me? I'm sure, anyone on our church staff would have an answer.
Absolutely. Trey, would you add anything to that?
I think so. I'm going to butcher it, but you're quoting so many people. I feel like I got to quote somebody as well. I know Mark Twain said something to the extent of like, the only things I regret are the things I didn't do.
Yes.
I think if you feel in your heart that you should go on a mission trip, then I think it's on your heart to go on a mission trip.
Yeah.
And it's not like why or when. Just do it.
Yeah.
Can't never could. That's what I told my little boys.
That's good. Can't never could.
Just get out there and, you're going to fail. Like saying hey to people. Like Joel can embarrassingly attest to me, like trying to say hello to people in the language that was there, trying to say thank you to people in the language that was there. And I butchered it every single time, but like, I'm going to keep trying.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Like if you don't try, you're never going to know. And as well as if he's calling you something bigger, which he is, he's calling you towards him and like to rely on him, then yeah, you'll never get that growth and you'll never get to experience that with him. So
love it, man.
And what was great when he would fumble is that he'd make that person smile because here was an American that was trying to speak Hindi, trying to speak their native language, right?
Yeah.
And maybe that was the only person that would ever have a conversation with him that day. And it often led to a spiritual conversation.
That's awesome, man. Can't never could.
Summer just
That
rolls
should be the
around.
title of this podcast. Can't never could.
I love it.
How you spell can't?
C-A-N-T.
C-A-I-N-T.
That's up to the comms team. Yeah.
Maybe in
That's
Florida.
from my
but-
hood. Yeah, that's right. Awesome, guys. Well, hey, thank you again for your time. If any of you listen to this, you have any questions, Joel's already hinted at this, man, you can email anyone on our staff. We can connect you directly to these two guys. I'm sure they'd love to have a conversation and encourage you as you consider how to take your next step. So thank you for listening. Hope you have an incredible day. God bless.